When I look back on everything he did to me, his intent was to destroy me, take away who I was. And I was not going to allow him to take my life. I was not going to give him the satisfaction of knowing he had destroyed me. I've never said out loud how I feel about him. I've never said out loud how much he's hurt me. I've never said out loud how angry I am because I'm afraid of the rage. I was waiting for the day he got the death penalty so I could sit there and watch him die. When I first met Bob, this is pretty much the way he looked. And,
Why can't you look at that?
It's not what I see, it makes me angry. I never thought I was capable of hating someone. Everything comes back, the anger, the rage, the pain comes back. And I hate the fact that it's never going to go away. It's always going to be there. No matter how much I scream or how much I cry, it's never going to go away, or it's never going to be enough to go away. And I know it's useless to ask why. And I know I'm not going to get an answer. But it's a question I have to ask. I can remember the night we met. My girlfriend and I, we'd go out to the bar to go dancing and meet our friends and have fun. And this guy in a pilot's uniform came up to me.
Hello there.
Hi.
I was kind of impressed because he was in the pilot's uniform, and I thought that was kind of cool.
You know, you have to be the most beautiful woman I've ever seen.
Thanks.
I asked him what his name was, and he told me his name was Dusty Rhodes. We had drinks, we danced. He started telling me how beautiful I was, that I was just the type of woman he was looking for. The more we got to know each other, he seemed like everything that my mother told me that a man was supposed to be. Responsible, patient, and understanding. And he seemed like everything that I wanted for a friend and maybe later a partner. He always introduced himself as Dusty Rhodes to anybody we met, my family, my friends, anybody. About 3 months into our relationship, Dusty asked me to come to his apartment.
Be right back.
Of course, I was doing my normal woman thing and snooping through everything. And that's when I found his driver's license. His name was not really Dusty Rhodes. It was Robert Ben Rhodes. I was kind of surprised. I didn't understand why he wasn't going by his real name. I told him that I'd found his driver's license. And he says, well, it adds an air of mystery. I'm going, wait a minute. When I first met you, you're wearing this pilot's uniform. Are you a pilot? And he says, no. I says, what exactly is it that you do for a living? He told me he was a truck driver.
Sometimes on the weekend, I pretend to be a pilot. And women like a man in a uniform. You did.
I said, so why didn't you just tell me that? And he goes, I just wanted to see what your reaction was going to be. It was like a game. I was very intrigued by it, and I thought it was kind of coy, and I thought it was kind of interesting.
Thanks for bringing me here tonight, honey.
Oh, you're welcome. It's going to be fun.
We went to dinner, and he told me before we got out of the car he wanted to give me something, and he told me to close my eyes.
Okay.
All right. Hold out your wrist then.
I'm closing my eyes thinking he's going to give me a bracelet. And then I felt this metal on my arm. I heard the click.
No. What is this?
He put a handcuff on my hand.
Bob, I don't like this.
Oh, come on, it's just a game. Be fun.
He says, tonight you're going to stay by me. Well, I panicked and I demanded he take it off.
I don't like this. It feels tight. Please, get it off.
I got the key right here. I can open it up anytime.
This isn't funny. I don't want to play
You
this
gotta
game.
relax a little bit. Come on, it's fun.
I just wanted to get out of that car right then.
Come on, you don't want to spend the whole night with me? I thought we were gonna hang out
Well, I
together.
did, but I don't now. Get it off.
All right, all right, all right.
I kept forcing my hand in front of him, telling him to take it off.
Just a second
Hurry. It's hurting me.
now. There you go.
And he grabbed his keys and unlocked it. I told him, don't ever do anything like that to me again.
It was a joke. I thought you'd get it. I thought you'd get a laugh out of it, all right? I'm sorry.
He was very, very apologetic.
Phyllis! Oh,
My girlfriend were walking in front of the car, and she gave me a look like, what in the hell's going on?
you would not believe what Bob just did.
What? I'm telling her what happened, and she just busted up laughing.
Why are you laughing? It's kind of funny.
And she told me, you're just being oversensitive. So that changed my thinking that maybe I was just overreacting. And so I kind of, I talked myself into just blowing it off.
It's no big deal. Come on, relax. How are you doing?
I mean, he was there for me. Every time he looked at me, he just made me feel like I was the only woman in the world. And that felt good. He told me one night he wanted to take me someplace special. And I'm a jeans and t-shirt girl. And I'm used to wearing my boots. And I'm getting ready to, like I normally do, to go out dancing. And he's like, oh, no, you're not going to wear that. He was very particular about what I wore. And I had to have on the halter top and a real short skirt and high heels.
Hey, how are you? Good
to see you.
Good to see you. Bye.
When we got in there, they were seating us in specific places. They put us with two other couples, and the girl next to me is talking, and she says, do you know what this place is? And then she says, this is a swingers club. It's where everyone switches partners. And then she takes her hand and runs it up my leg. And I'm like, whoa. I was sitting next to a young lady.
Hi. Hi.
Never seen you here before.
Well, this is my first time.
And then she says, well, this is a swingers club. It's where everyone switches partners. And she starts running her hand up my leg, and she's going, I'm into girls.
I'm sorry. No, thank you.
I kind of panicked, and I pushed away from her, and I'm going, that's nice, but I'm not. I was really shocked that he would bring me to a place like this.
Hey, where are you going? What's going on?
I don't want to be here. I can't believe you would bring me somewhere like this.
It's just a party.
I said, what were you thinking? He says, I'm just trying to open your eyes. You just need to loosen up.
This could be the next step in our relationship. A new experience.
And I said, Bob, I love you. I don't have any desire to have sex with someone else.
I don't want to be open.
I told him if that's what he needed to find someone else. And he just said, okay, hon, that's fine. I won't do that to you anymore.
Okay.
You okay? Okay, give me a kiss now. All right, let's go now.
He promised me that from that point on that he would never take me to another swing club, and I believed him. He told me that we got an invitation to go to this party, and that it was given by a friend of ours.
How are you, Mark? Good to see you.
And when we got to the party, and everybody's drinking, everybody's talking and visiting, having fun.
Mark's really nice, isn't he? He's a super sweet guy.
And most of the time, Bob stayed right there with me. I think I went to the bathroom and came back, and I couldn't find him. And somebody finally told me that he was in one of the back rooms. I went to where they said he was, opened the door. My heart dropped. He was having sex with another woman. I didn't say anything to him. I just turned around and walked out. He threw clothes on. He came running after me. And he was pretty angry.
Deborah.
I told you, I'm not into this kind of thing.
You're just being such a baby about this thing. Why don't you just relax?
Just yelling at me that he wished I'd grow up and he wished I'd stop being so childish and act like a woman. And it made me feel inadequate. It made me feel like I wasn't enough, that what was wrong with me, that I wasn't enough, that he needed this. Why would you expect me to do something like this? It's demeaning.
How many times do I have to tell you that this isn't for me?
You need to open up. You got to understand me. This is something that I need.
And I just told him I just couldn't do this anymore, and I wasn't going to do it anymore.
You might be better off with somebody else.
Bob was very good at making me feel secure, and I loved him. I wanted things to work.
Where are you?
Yeah.
You're reading.
He promised me he loved me, and everything went back to normal. We got to be a normal couple again. We would go antiquing on the weekends. We would go out to breakfast on Sunday mornings. When he asked me to marry him, it was okay because we were at a good place. And it'd been like 2 years. And at that point, everything was going real well. This picture is from our wedding day. The wedding was very small. It was just immediate family. I was concerned about the swinging, but I felt like he loved me and that anything was possible at that time. This is my marriage certificate. I, Robert, take thee, Deborah, wedded wife, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, to death do us part. I believed in my vows, and I believed that he believed in them. It was all a lie. It was about 6 months after we got married that things started to change. He became more demanding when it came to sex and what he wanted in sex. Well, one night we were laying in bed and he says, "Oh, you won't believe what I got."
I have something I want us to try.
And he brought out these nipple clamps. He says they really intensify the orgasm. And I tried them, and I says, "Those are uncomfortable." And he says, "Well, you just have to get used to them. You know, you got to at least try them again." He made me feel guilty. I did feel like maybe I was being a little bit too sensitive. Maybe I could just do it to make him happy. This is a photo of a Halloween costume that he made himself. Bob wanted me to go as a dominatrix and him to go as a slave. He would tell me that he liked the leather boots and he wanted to be subservient to me. He wanted me to be dominant towards him. I was kind of starting to see this dark side of him that I had never seen before. One night I went to bed, and Bob went to bed later than I did. I slept pretty sound that night. When I woke up, I realized my arms and my legs were tied up. When I woke up, I realized my arms and my legs were tied up. I panicked, and I started moving and wrestling. I was panicking so much I didn't realize that he was laying behind me, watching me. He started laughing when he saw me struggling. They weren't very tight, so I was able to get out them pretty quickly. I was yelling at him, telling him, you know I don't like being tied up. Why would you do something with that? Especially when I'm asleep and I'm unable to defend myself. I said, that's just sick.
What's wrong with you? Why would you tie me up like that?
Where's your sense of humor?
It's not funny. It's creepy.
And he told me, he says, I just want to see what you do. I want to see how long it takes you to get out of it. And he tried to pass it off as a joke. I felt that maybe if I prayed enough and maybe if I loved him enough, that maybe I'd be able to help him. I had this image in my mind that maybe one day he would wake up and he would see just how much I loved him, just how much he meant to me, and he would change. I was having a lot of health problems, and I was in and out of the hospital a whole lot. One day, I was at home, and I was laying in the bed, and I had a headache so bad that I was curled up backwards. The pain was so bad. He came by, and he laid beside me, and he was watching me. He didn't try to help me. He didn't try to get me any pills, nothing. And I laid there just in horrific pain. And he just sat there watching me.
My head is throbbing.
He actually derived enjoyment from watching me be in pain. No matter how sick I was or how bad I was, he still demanded sex from me. I was no longer a person. I became a piece of property. It got to be more about just getting it over with than anything having to do with love. And it just got to the point to where it was just easier just to go ahead and do it and get it over with and just keep praying that things were going to get better. He'd be gone all during the week, and when he did come back a week or two later, it seemed like all the anger and all the stress and all the anxiousness in him was gone.
Bob, this looks delicious.
He wasn't as demanding with sex. I mean, he'd still come up and he'd put his arms around me and he'd kiss me. As far as I knew, all the fetishes were gone. He didn't talk to me about them anymore. It was a relief. I didn't have to deal with this anger and constantly pressuring me for sex. Every time I got in the truck, I kind of got in the back and cleaned up a little bit. One day, I was cleaning out the back, and I pulled out a pair of women's panties. And it shocked me. I instantly assumed that he's guilty of something. I was jealous, I was upset, and I was angry. And I showed them to him, and I asked him whose they were.
You know how many guys use this truck? Gotta be one of them.
He blew it off and kept telling me that it was the other guy that drives the truck. I had to accept his answer because it was a legitimate explanation.
Where do you think you're going?
He got me down on the floor and he just started kicking me. And I curled up in a ball and I just prayed to God that it would just stop. Whenever I would see this look on his face, I would have a moment of panic. It's one of his looks that I'm stepping over a line. And if I didn't stop what I was doing, then I was going to have to pay for it later. What did I do? You know, what is it that I did to upset him? I had no idea what was in store for me. One day I was cleaning out Bob's car and I noticed that there was a briefcase underneath the seat. I thought it was strange because it was locked and he never brought it into the house. What does a truck driver have a need for a briefcase?
Bob, hon, where do you want this briefcase?
And I asked Bob about it, and he explained to me that he needed it for his logbooks and his trucking POs or whatever they need for the loads and stuff. And, you know, I'm not a trucker, so I didn't know what he needed. And I never really saw him open it, so I don't know what was in it. He was in a really good mood, and he came up and he gave me a kiss and hugged me. Then he sat down next to me, and he said, I've got a surprise for you.
Yeah? Let's see.
He gave me a ring. It had no box. It had no price on it. It looked like it had been used. And I asked him where he found it. And he said, well, I found it at a truck stop. There was something about the ring that just didn't sit well with me. I just didn't feel comfortable wearing it. He would always come home after a run with bruises or scrapes or scratches on him.
Made you a sandwich.
I noticed that his knuckles were kind of scarred up and he had scratches on his arms. And I kind of pulled his shirt back and looked on his back. And he had scratches on his back too.
What are all these scratches?
I don't know.
And he says, well, I got scraped under the truck. It looked more like fingernail scratches than it did a scratch from the truck. And the knuckles looked like maybe he was punching something. And then he tried to give me the story that he'd gotten a bar fight. I says, I'm not buying it. And after that, he just says, it's no big deal. It's okay. I'm fine. I really didn't know what to believe. I couldn't understand why he couldn't directly tell me the truth. He came home from work. He was in one of his moods. I mean, you could feel the anger just radiate off his body.
Take your clothes off.
He wanted to have sex, and I told him no. He just got mad at me, and he just grabbed me, and he hit me, and I was fighting him, and I told him no. And he wouldn't stop. And finally, I just gave up. I just let him do whatever he wanted, so he just get over with it. When he got finished, he just rolled over and went to sleep. And I just laid there crying, and I just couldn't believe that just happened to me. When we woke up the next morning, he just acted like nothing happened the night before. I felt so used that I just really just wanted to get out of there.
Where do you think you're going?
I'm leaving you. You are not going to hurt me anymore.
I had told him, if you ever touch me, if you ever hurt me, that's it. We were in the hallway and he was so angry at me and he just started beating on me. He got me down on the floor and he just started kicking me. And I curled up in a ball and I just prayed to God that it would just stop. Just prayed that I just lived through it. I wasn't a person anymore. I was a thing. And when I said no, he didn't hear me. He didn't see me. I turned around and I looked him dead in the eye. It was like he woke up from a dream and he realized it was me on the floor. And he stopped. And I looked at him and I said, "Are you through?" And he goes, "Yes." And I says, "Now I'm through." And I hit him as hard as I could and I left. I couldn't get out of that house fast enough. And after I walked out that door, he destroyed everything in that living room. I could hear the glass breaking as I was walking out the door. I finally understood that I couldn't help him. And I had to help myself.
This is Deborah.
I left him in September and the call came April 1st. He had been arrested.
Robert.
And I asked the sheriff's officer what he'd been arrested for. And they told me kidnapping and rape. On April 1st, 1990, at approximately 12:15 a.m., Officer Mike Miller pulled in behind a tractor-trailer rig and looked inside the truck. He saw the upper body of a white female. Her hands were shackled. When Officer Miller shined the flashlight into the truck, the woman screamed and the man appeared. Officer Miller handcuffed the male subject and then approached the female inside the truck. She initially screamed, "Don't hurt me." And when she was advised that Officer Miller was a police officer, she stated, "Thank God." I can't believe he would actually do this to someone.
Deborah, thank you for coming in. Please, have a seat.
Took a while before the FBI realized what he was doing.
Do you know any of these people?
When I finally realized the extent of what he had done, I was horrified. The FBI actually asked me to come to the office.
Have a seat.
They wanted me to come in and look at pictures, and they wanted to know if I knew any of these people. They think he'd committed some murders, and that when he was on his runs, he was picking up people and torturing them and killing them after he tortured them. The FBI told me that he'd been doing this for 15 years.
Is there anything you do remember?
I had to think back on my life. I've been with this man for almost 8 years, and he's saying he's been doing this for 15 years. That means he's been doing this the whole time I've been with him. And how come I didn't see it? The FBI told me that they had found a briefcase, and they told me it was a rape kit. Not only a rape kit, but it was a torture kit containing a dildo, a leash, needles, several pair of handcuffs, some chains, and a horse bit with a leather strap. I thought back of all the scratches he came home with, all the bruises. I thought about this ring that he had given me. They explained to me that it could possibly be one of the victims, and they asked me if they could have it, and I gave it to them. And then when they told me what the extent of him killing people could be and how many it could be 30 to 40 people. And this is not just women, but it's young men too. It was like, God, why?
I can't.
Your testimony could help us put him away for good.
they're asking me for help, and I can't help them because I don't know what they want. I don't know what they need. I don't know if I have that information. If I did, I would do it. I would give it to them.
I want help.
The FBI wanted me to find out how many people he may have killed. They had told me that the only person that he would probably ever tell anything to would be me. And they asked if I was willing to maybe write some letters to him to see if maybe he would tell me something. This is one of the letters I wrote to Bob. Dear Bob, we belong together. I'm lost without you, and I would do anything in the world for you because I need you, as you are the only man for me. It was difficult. I had to say things that I didn't mean. I had to make him think that I was still in love with him. I had to make him think that he was still able to manipulate me. But it was the only way that I thought that I could get into his head and he would maybe tell me something. We wrote back and forth for almost 2 years, and he would make excuses and he would never give me a direct answer. When the FBI came to see me, I told them that he was never going to admit anything on paper, that if he was ever going to admit anything to me, then he was going to admit it to me face to face, and that I was going to have to go down there. I went up there to see him, and they didn't warn me that he'd be able to touch me. He walked up to me and he was hugging me. And I wanted to turn and run. But then the anger took over. And once the anger took over, I was able to sit down with him and talk to him. I tried to start talking about what he was in there for, and he just kept trying to dismiss it. He wouldn't discuss it. He wouldn't talk about it. And he's telling me that I don't have a choice. I have to believe him.
We keep going over this again and again and again. I didn't do it, and that's it.
And I'm just shocked that he can actually sit in front of me and lie to me directly to my face. And he knows I know the truth because I can see it in his face. He tells me after 3 days of him not really giving me any information whatsoever, that whenever I came back the next day, we were not to discuss this at all, and I was to let it go.
I want you to drop the subject.
I called the FBI and I told him I did what you asked me to. He told me nothing, and they said, well, it was worth a shot. I said, I tried, and I failed. I changed jobs. I moved to another town. I eventually remarried, and I did all that just to get away from him. I started volunteering. I was working with domestic violence victims and rape victims, and they kept reassuring me that nothing was my fault. But, I don't believe it. The guilt was overwhelming. Because I thought maybe I could have done something. If I just would have done what he wanted me to do, maybe this wouldn't have happened. Maybe it would have saved one life. Maybe. got a call from the FBI agent that he'd been sentenced to life. And at the time, I was angry. I was angry because I wanted him to get the death penalty. I want him to die a very slow and painful death. I want to make sure that God makes him suffer for everything he's done. And I make sure he feels every moment of it. I'm sorry. Just, I know I'm smiling because just any little bit of knowing that he is very unhappy where he's at, it brings me a great deal of pleasure. I know that's wrong, but it just makes me feel like there may be some justice in this world.
This is a letter that he wrote to me in care of one of my aunts. I didn't get it until many years after he wrote it to me. It says, Tiffany, I love you and miss you. God, I miss you so very much. I am so sorry for everything. I know sorry doesn't make anything okay. Nothing will ever make what happened okay. Nothing. Tiffany, I never ever meant to hurt you. I loved you so much. I would do anything to go back to the beginning and undo the nightmare of the past. It's just empty words. It's just a bunch of garbage. We have been waiting for 10 years for him to receive the sentence that he asked for and that he deserved, and he's still not gone for good. I absolutely do want to be there to see it when he is ultimately executed, if it happens. It's not that I want to watch him die. I just want that sense of closure. I want to see it happen. I want to see that he is no longer a threat to anyone, that he can't hurt anyone anymore, that he's gone for good.
Did you feel like your dad loved you?
No, I don't feel like my dad ever loved me. I don't feel like my dad was ever capable of loving anything, ever.
Did you love him?
I did. I really did love my dad. And I don't think that feeling ever entirely goes away. I know he's done terrible things, and I feel like he's where he deserves to be. But you don't just stop loving someone. I had 12 years of my life with this person, and though a lot of them were bad, I still had some good experiences too. If we would go to like the Renaissance Fair or build sandcastles or do art or just always something fun. He was charming, he was handsome, he was funny, he was smart, he was talented. He was all of those things. And at the time, I really admired my dad when I was little. My parents had gotten divorced, and my mother wanted to move in with her new boyfriend. And so we would go live with our dad. He was so fun to go visit on the weekends, and you get this idea when you visit a person that they're super fun to be around. Well, living with a person and visiting a person are two totally different things. We never really had like a good supply of food growing up. I remember I had like this giant bucket of peanut butter, and we would all make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because that was like a staple in our house. But this bucket of peanut butter was just riddled with ants.
Dad, there's something wrong with this peanut butter.
That's what we had to eat because he wouldn't buy us anything else.
It's either that or nothing.
We could either eat it or starve. He would always get himself these steaks. And at the time, steak is good. And it smells great when you're cooking it. And we really wanted steak, but we didn't get steak. We got some busted peanut butter and toast type stuff. And then the cast iron skillet that he would cook it in with all the leftover grease and nastiness, we would have to go clean it. And it was just awful. It was an awful feeling having to go clean up after this fantastic meal that you didn't get to partake in. His justification is just that, he's the man of the house and he earns the money. So if he wants to eat a damn steak, he's going to eat a damn steak. If you want to get a job and get your own food, then get it. But this is the food I provide for you. That's what you get. He always bought us nice things, though, like material objects. The nicest gaming consoles, the nicest televisions, bicycles, because it showed people that he was willing to spend all this money on us and that he was such a nice person to his kids, when in reality, he wasn't providing necessities. If we had enough material objects, maybe he could convince everybody that everything was normal. After we moved in with my dad, the first year or so living with him, I thought my dad was like super cool. Like nobody had a parent like my dad. Around the age of like 9 or 10, I started smoking cigarettes and stuff. And I remember I thought him providing us alcohol and cigarettes just made him kind of like the fun, cool dad. But a lot of things in our life was very outlined and scripted. And we knew what our script was and what we were supposed to do, how we were supposed to act, what we were supposed to say and wear and think and feel. And our appearance had to be spotless and perfect all of the time. You know, if we went anywhere as a family, our hair had to look a particular way. Our outfit had to look a particular way. We had to talk and act a particular way. Everything was just like a show. But if it doesn't go the way he planned it, then all hell breaks loose. And everybody suffers in the house for it. One time, it was like morning time and I was running late for school.
I told you to be ready. That means 100% ready.
And my dad was just so pissed off that we were there for whatever reason. We were trying to get out the door. He was screaming at us. And he just started throwing things at us.
You ingrate, get out! Get out of my sight! Get out of my sight right now! Stupid little brats!
It wasn't in his script of expectations, therefore, it just set him off. Anything out of the ordinary would set him off. I just accepted things the way they were. I just felt like I deserved it in some way because I was late. I shouldn't have been doing what I wasn't supposed to be doing, and that was the penalty for it. That's what I thought. After living with my dad, it became very clear that he didn't like anybody to question his authority or the way that he did things. You just accept it or you would get physically assaulted by my dad.
You like Jason? He will never notice you. No, give it back.
When I was a kid, I did normal kid things. I was loud and I was defiant and I would scream in my room and throw things.
Hey! What's going on? No, she's taking my diary. It's not my fault.
Give me this book.
He would beat us pretty hard, like hitting us in the head and pulling our hair and spanking our feet and our legs and anything he'd get his hands on.
No!
Give me this book.
Stop!
Saying, stop crying, there's no crying allowed in this house. He absolutely despised crying. He said crying was not allowed in his house, which is a really hard thing to avoid when you're being beaten.
Shut up.
Stop, please.
And the more we cried, the angrier he would get. As a child, I couldn't help it. I just cried because I didn't know anything else that I could do and I didn't know how to keep that in. At that point, because no matter how much I tried, I couldn't stop crying, he would roll us up in the sheets and tie the sheets really tight so that we couldn't move. So our arms would be compressed to our bodies.
Be quiet.
And I remember not being able to move and not being able to breathe and him just taking the pillow and smothering me.
No!
Give me this book. Yeah.
It is very clear as day in my mind, him screaming at me and the pillow on my face and then not being able to breathe and the shame that I felt for not being able to stop crying. I didn't understand why I couldn't do what it was that he wanted for me to make him happy.
Shut up.
I just felt just so ashamed to cry and not have a control over that feeling.
Shut up. Next time, finish it.
My sister and I both became very good at hiding our feelings. And to this day, yeah, like I don't really cry or get overwhelmed by intense feelings like that anymore because it's just been programmed out of me. It was beaten into me literally not to show any feelings of sadness. And so you just learn to put on a face that doesn't show anything. My sister and I were inseparable when we were kids. We were very close. We just took care of each other. We looked after each other. We worked kind of as a team. Make sure one didn't get, into trouble. Because he was just so violent. Just her presence being there, it helped make it okay. And I didn't want to leave her alone and she didn't want to leave me alone. But the longer that we lived with him, the more we were afraid. My dad worked for Southwestern Bell as a telephone man. He would do in-house repairs and repairs on the telephone line. He went to work really early in the mornings and it would still be dark outside. Some days he would come home very late, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. Back then, I just accepted it as he had a long day at work and he was doing stuff. But in hindsight, who works that kind of overtime as a telephone repairman? It's just not realistic. When he would leave us alone in the house, he would barricade us in the house so that we couldn't leave. He would nail all the windows shut and then all of the doors locked deadbolt from the outside. There wasn't any other way to escape that house. There was no other exit. We were 100% locked in.
We're doing this so you girls are safe.
His excuse was basically the world was full of bad people trying to get at you and that you couldn't trust anybody. We really didn't have any exposure to anything different. If that is all you have ever been shown, you have no reason to question it. So I just accepted it, that was okay. He warned us about all these awful people in the world, but then he was the horrible person in the world, and I shouldn't have placed my trust in him. And that is a really hard thing to move past. We really liked having friends over for sleepovers, and I think our friends enjoyed coming over to our house for sleepovers because when he wasn't being a monster, he was so much fun. We would sit there and pretend like we were at a rock concert or something, we would have music going on in the background and pretend like we were in a music video. He was very involved in our dress-up moments. He liked to put us in outfits that were very suggestive, little cropped halter tops that showed my stomach and shorts, the Daisy Duke style shorts and dresses that barely covered anything at all. At the time, it was a lot of fun doing it, but in reflection, he dressed us up. I mean, we basically looked like little prostitutes. We would just jump up and down and just acting silly like we were rock stars or whatever. And my dad definitely was always somewhere watching. My dad would religiously make us hot chocolate. We would all be sitting in the living room and he would bring us hot chocolate to drink before we went to bed. My sister told us all the time, don't drink the hot chocolate, it tastes funny. And it did taste funny, I remember that, but I just didn't think anything of it. I thought it was some cheap, nasty off-brand of hot chocolate. We would drink it and consistently, shortly thereafter, we would all get quite tired and go to sleep. The next thing you know, it's morning. We were being drugged. You don't really question the fact that you don't remember anything from the night. You just assume that you were sleeping the whole time. Like, I feel like somebody came in and wiped away a pretty good portion of my memory, because that's the whole point of those drugs. It's so that you don't recall what happened. It's just so horrible that it's not something you particularly want to remember. Like, there's a reason why your body tries to block out that stuff. Given the nature of the fact that he drugged us quite often, you don't remember exactly what happened, but you know bits and pieces. Because that's all I ever remembered, was bits and pieces of things that happened. And it's hard sometimes to make sense of those bits and pieces. I was in and out of consciousness. But I remember that I was totally naked and that he was doing stuff. I remember waking up to that happening, and I pretended to be asleep because I was afraid. I was afraid that if he knew I was awake, something bad would happen. That maybe if he didn't know that I knew it was happening, I would be safer. I was afraid that if he knew that I knew what was happening, he would see me as a threat to him. And I didn't know what to do about it, because he was bigger and stronger than us, and he was my dad. So I just pretended to be asleep. I didn't want to tell anybody about it because I was ashamed that it happened. I just really desperately wanted it not to be true. So I just tried not to think about it. I thought that if I took the brunt of it, she would be okay. My dad definitely treated me like I was the prettier one, the smarter one, the better one. And he treated my sister like she was some kind of second-class citizen. I didn't want that to happen to her. I didn't feel like she should have to deal with that too. I can only imagine how many times that it happened that I don't remember what happened. I thought that maybe some way I deserved it. My whole life, I always just felt guilty. Every time I got any kind of assault from my dad, I just felt guilty because there was probably something I did to deserve it. All I ever wanted to do was be this ideal image child that he had prescribed myself to be. And any time I didn't live up to that, I just felt guilty and that I deserved to be punished for it. Our teachers and stuff had observed bruises on my sister and I, and the fact that we never had food when we came to school, and they were concerned for our welfare. And CPS had been contacted. My dad told us they were coming. And the story that he built in our minds about what it would be like to be taken by CPS was terrifying. They were just like these evil people that come in and try and break up people's families and steal you away from your parents and give you to foster care where people are horrible and mean to you, and you guys will be separated. And I would never see my sister again. She was my rock at the time. That's all we had in life. We had each other. I didn't want to be all alone in the world.
All right, what's up, girls?
And so he told us what to say. If they ask you this type of question, tell them this. So we practiced our story as a family, what we were going to say.
This woman who's coming, she's gonna pretend to be your friend, but she's not. So you have to be perfect. You understand? Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Understand?
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
My dad had put like some stew on the stove so that the house would smell very aromatic and welcoming. We dressed in very nice clothes. We had our faces plastered on with smiles, and from the outside looking in, I think it was pretty easy to say that it was a very healthy household, and he did a lot of the talking.
These are my daughters. This is Amber and Tiffany.
Hello.
Hi, Amber. Hi, Tiffany.
Can I get you something to drink? Tea, water, coffee, anything?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Well, if you change your mind, you just let me know.
Oh, I'm so sorry that you had to come out today, you know, when clearly everything is so perfect in our house. He was a really good actor. I told the lady pretty much what my dad had told me to tell them, that everything was good at home, that we got proper meals and we were loved and taken care of, and it was very scripted.
You always have clean clothes to wear.
Yes.
Does your dad get you to school on time?
Yeah.
We put on a really good show about everything just being spectacular at the house.
Well, I think that's all I need to know.
There was no reason for them to look beyond what they were seeing.
Nice to meet you, girls.
And nothing ever came of it.
Okay, great. I'll show you the way out.
All right.
Girls, say goodbye.
Bye.
We were just left to live with this person because he was a nice person on the outside. I just started feeling so hopeless, like there was no way out of the situation that we were in, that it was never going to get better, that it would always be that way or worse. I think it was around that time period that I started to become suicidal. That I just didn't want to live anymore because I just didn't feel like I was cared about or loved by anybody. I locked myself in the bathroom with knives many times, and I just wasn't brave enough to cut myself. And so I was at home, and our dad had left us unattended. I had seen things on television about all these rock stars who OD on pills. So I found pills. I took them all.
What did you go and do?
My dad basically just gave me this pep talk about don't be depressed about life anymore and just don't ever do that again type thing.
I feel so bad.
Don't feel bad. Now get up. It's time for dinner.
I think what was more devastating than the feeling of leading up to that point was the feeling I had after I realized that he just didn't care. He just didn't seem to care at all that I tried to kill myself. And I remember telling my sister, what is there worth living for anymore when your own father doesn't care if you live or die? She didn't want me to die. She wanted me to be around. She didn't want to be alone with him.
Stop! I just told you what needs to happen.
He just got angry.
I can't stick her with these kids.
And said, well, if you don't take them now, you're never going to see him again.
I just wanted to see if Amber and Tiffany could come visit for a little while.
My dad had called my grandmother that summer and asked her if my sister and I could come visit.
It's not a good time for them to be here.
He wanted to get married to the woman who became our stepmom, and he didn't want us to be there for it so that he could have, you know, the honeymoon phase with her without us getting in the way. And my grandmother told him, you know, it's just not a good time right now.
I just told you what needs to happen. No, I can't stick her with these kids.
That set him off. It's a classic trigger for him. He expected her to say yes, and she said now it's not a good time. So he just got angry. and said, well, if you don't take them now, you're never going to see them again.
Damn it!
And so very shortly after that, we went to go see her. We left for California with a singular suitcase, had a couple changes of clothes, and that was it. We were thinking we were gonna go back in a month. And we never did.
Tiffany, I was talking with your dad. How would you feel if Amber came to live with me?
My aunt had been talking to my dad about having my sister go live with her for a school semester because Amber was struggling at school, and I was so afraid to go be alone with him.
Please don't do this.
You'll be fine.
No, I won't be fine.
I did not know how to be strong without her to help me. I would no longer have that extra person in my life to rely on for the really bad days. I was really just kind of afraid that he might kill me if we were alone, and that was terrifying. I was in such a panic. I burst into tears and I told her everything.
He hurts me, and he's angry all the time. He hurts us.
I said, you know, please don't do this. Don't make me stay alone with him. He hurts us and he's molesting me and I don't want to be alone with him. It's okay when my sister was there because we have each other. Don't take her away from me. Don't make me be alone with him. I was afraid that she wouldn't believe me because that was his sister.
Tiffany, are you saying he touches you?
Yes. Please don't take Amber away from me.
How long?
Since we moved home.
Oh, God.
She promised to do everything she could to prevent that situation from happening.
I'm so sorry. Oh, I should have known.
That's when my aunt contacted my grandmother, and my grandmother talked to my sister. And that's when my sister came forth and told everything about what was happening to her to my grandmother. I remember being alone with my sister and just her crying, saying, I didn't know what was happening to you too.
He did it to me too.
Neither one of us knew about the other being sexually assaulted by him. She just felt so guilty.
I didn't want to say anything because I thought if I kept quiet, he wouldn't touch you.
She just kept telling me, I thought it was only me. I thought if it was just me, he wouldn't do this to you.
I'm so sorry I couldn't protect you.
It just hit me like a ton of bricks that day. Finding out that the person at the time that you most deeply care about in your life and that you are trying to keep safe is no longer safe, in spite of your best efforts and sacrifice to ensure that safety, it is devastating. He didn't actually serve any long time jail sentence, maybe like a few weeks or months. And yeah, we lived in constant fear that he was gonna show up at the door someday, that he would retaliate against us. We didn't have any contact with him after that at all. We were so afraid of his retaliation. My sister and I did not continue to stay close. She ran away from home when I was 15. She said she didn't like walls being around her. She didn't want to live with my grandmother because my grandmother had rules. My sister didn't want rules. She didn't want structure. I would hear from her every couple years or so, here and there, and I worried about her. I don't think I really believed it at first. It's one of those moments where you kind of do a double take. What do you mean Dad's a serial killer? I hadn't really had much contact with my sister. I received a phone call from her.
Hello?
And it was very strange that she called me because she never really called me for anything. So I answered the phone and my sister just told me, no real sugarcoating on it. She just said, hey, have you watched news or something like that? I said, no. When she was like, oh, well, Dad's a serial killer. That's exactly how she said it. Dad's a serial killer. I was just like, you know, okay, what do you mean Dad's a serial killer? Well, she said, you know, it's all over the television. He was arrested on suspicion of murder of all these women in Houston. I got off the phone with her, and sure enough.
The man now charged with the crime, 41-year-old Anthony Allen Shore.
It was all true.
They say Shore confessed to the 4 killings, showed no remorse. Each victim was strangled with a ligature wire. Shore is now charged with 4 sex murders dating back 17 years.
The killings occurred over a 9-year span, and authorities fear Shore killed others as well.
It was very surreal. It was like having kind of like an out-of-body experience.
I wish I could share with you guys what he told us, but it's unspeakable. He was not remorseful. He is an evil man.
You hear the words and see what's going on, but you just feel so disconnected from it because it just doesn't seem consistent with reality. I just shut down. Yeah, these are all the women that he murdered. And children. They varied between the ages of 9 and 21. You look at these faces, and it's devastating. It's very upsetting because they were so young that they never had the opportunity to be adults. That could have been us. This could have been my sister and I easily. They all had dark hair and dark eyes and very young features. He seemed to be drawn to little girls that looked like my sister and I. All of the murders occurred during the period of time we were living with him. Was he trying to find people that looked like us because he wanted to kill us? That's something that's occurred to me. And if that was the case, how badly did he want to kill us? How long would it have been before he would have strangled my sister or I to death? It is a terrifying thought. Would it have been another month, another year? Would I made it to adulthood? It's terrifying. I'm thankful to be alive because that could have been either one of us. And I try to keep that in mind every time I feel down and out about it, because I don't feel like you ever just get over something like that. After finding out about it, all those memories just came flooding back to me. Things that just seem unimportant just became so relevant. When we lived in Houston, we had this van. The van had no seats in the back. He had like the cliche, stereotypical serial killer van, and I rode around in it.
I remember seeing this girl walking along, and there wasn't anybody around. I just picked her up and threw her in the van, and nobody saw it.
My dad would pick up hitchhikers, and I just thought it was so strange that my dad would pick up a stranger off the side of the road and just let them ride in our car. So who knows? I mean, I can only imagine what he was doing.
I was driving around. I saw this girl wearing her. I just said, hey, it's about to ride. Jump right in.
There were all these signs that something wasn't right, and nobody did anything about it. He had everybody convinced that he was this fantastic, wonderful person. Neighbors and things saying, oh, he was just such a nice guy, we couldn't see it. When they said that he was going to get the death penalty, it was almost a relief, because I thought finally he'll be gone. You know, we'll all get closure We won't ever have to worry about what he's gonna say or do next, or him hurting anybody else or manipulating anybody else. He'll just be gone. And it's frustrating. You know, I have been counting down the days for 10 years now, waiting for that closure. And it doesn't escape me that I do have good memories of my dad, and he wasn't always a horrible person, but he did very horrible, unforgivable things. He asked for death row. He deserves death row. So now it's just a waiting game. When he is finally gone, I think I'll be able to really breathe again. But I haven't heard from my sister in years. I don't know if she's alive. I don't know if she's dead. I don't know if she's in prison or if she got her life together. I don't know. I don't know what happened to her. She didn't want to be found. So we lost her.
She was branded the damsel of death. A tabloid dream and a moral panic all rolled into one headline. But let's be honest, Aileen Wuornos wasn't born evil. She was built that way. Because when you abandon, abuse, and throw away a kid with anger issues, you don't get redemption. You get rage. Now, let's be clear. She wasn't innocent. Not by a long shot. She killed 7 men. She robbed them. She lied. She deserved prison. Absolutely. But execution, that's where it gets complicated. If you look at the records, you know it's Aileen in her own words. Furious, funny, unhinged, and heartbreakingly human. But you also know it leaves you with questions about her victims, about the people who cashed in, about what actually happened. It's December 1989, Central Florida. The air is thick with humidity and bad choices. Aileen Wuornos is 33, broke and circling the drain. She's living out of a cheap Daytona motel with her girlfriend, Tyria Moore. The one thing in her life that still feels like love, or at least the closest thing to it. But love doesn't pay the bills. Ty isn't working, and Eileen's back on the highway hustling, drinking, and hanging on by a thread. Years of abuse and violent exploitation have chewed her up and spit her out. The booze numbs it. The anger fuels it. And every man who slows down on that Florida shoulder is both a payday and a potential target. By the end of this year, 7 men will be dead. Shot, dumped, and left to rot along the same highways where she makes her living. But to understand how she got here, how she became, Aileen Wuornos, the so-called queen of serial killers Juve, got to go back to where it starts, because no one wakes up one day and decides to kill 7 men. You have to be made for that. And spoiler, she was. Aileen Carol Wuornos didn't grow up. She survived her childhood. She was born in Michigan on Leap Day, 1956, to a teenage mom who ditched her before she even hit kindergarten, and a father who was already behind bars for abusing a 7-year-old. He killed himself before she ever met him. Aileen and her older brother were raised by their grandparents. And depending on when you ask her, that story changed. In some interviews, she called her grandmother really clean and decent. She said she didn't drink or swear. Her grandfather, she said, was not nasty, but the truth is much darker. A drunk grandmother, a sexually abusive grandfather, and friends of his, who also assaulted her. By 11, she was trading her body for cigarettes and food. By 14, she had gotten pregnant by a friend of her grandfather, S., and was sent to a home for unwed mothers. Her baby was taken away. Her grandma's liver gave out. And her grandfather kicked her out of the house, told her never to come back. So, she didn't. She lived in the woods, literally. She was angry, paranoid, already a cocktail of trauma, mental illness, and survival instinct. So, when people say she just snapped, that's not exactly true. Aileen didn't snap, she erupted. Even as a kid, she had a fuse so short you could barely see it burn. She would blow up over anything. A look, a word, a laugh. Her temper was volcanic. Her impulse control non-existent. Mix that with daily abuse, abandonment, and zero stability, and congratulations, you have just created the perfect storm. By her own count, she had been beaten, assaulted, or robbed at least 30 times before she finally bought a gun. At first, it was just for protection. But when you hand someone like her a lifetime of trauma and a weapon, you get a serial killer who thinks she is fighting back. The first to die is Richard Mallory, 51 years old, a television repair shop owner. The kind of man people describe as quiet, which is never quite as comforting as it sounds. He picks Eileen up off the highway. They drink. He drives her out to the woods, and somewhere between the bottle and the bullets, everything goes sideways. What exactly happens in that car is murky. Here is what we do know. Richard's body is found in a wooded area outside Daytona Beach, fully clothed, pants zipped, belt buckled, pockets turned inside out. His cash and belongings are gone. He has been shot several times. His car turns up later, abandoned and ransacked. He is the only victim Eileen would ever face trial for, but that wouldn't happen for another few years. She says he put her through a night of terror and torture, that he attacked her, assaulted her, and she shot him in self. But Tyria Moore, her girlfriend, tells it differently. Ty says Eileen came home calm. No injuries, no panic, no explanations. She just flopped down in a chair, turned on the TV, and said, "I killed a man today." 2 stories, same night, and they don't match. But here is what really matters. Richard Mallory wasn't some innocent stranger. He had a prior conviction for sexual assault, and even served time for it. They uncovered that not long after the trial in 1992. It wasn't buried, it was just ignored. The prosecutor later claimed he didn't know about Richard's record, but added that, even if he had, it wouldn't have changed a thing. Which tells you everything about how this case was handled. The one piece of evidence that could have given her self-defense story a sliver of credibility, and no one wanted to hear it. One thing is for sure, after that night, something inside Eileen Wuornos changes. Or maybe it doesn't change at all. Maybe it finally matches the chaos that has always been there. To hear her tell it later, it is like she crossed a line, looked back, and thought she couldn't uncross it now. And look, Eileen was no angel before this. She has been arrested plenty. Theft, armed robbery, assault, the classics. But murder, that is new territory. And once she crosses into it, she doesn't come back. Over the next year, 6 more men end up dead. Shot, dumped, and left on the side of Florida highways. But hang on a minute. What do we actually know about the men she killed? After Richard, the story everyone thinks they know starts to take shape. 6 more men, all painted with the same brush. We hear them lumped together as her clients, but that label is a little too neat for the mess we are about to wade into. Yes, Eileen was involved in illicit transactions. And yeah, a lot of these guys probably picked her up expecting a quick transaction, but not all of them. Excluding the victims found naked, it is just as likely some were trying to do the right thing, pulling over to help a woman who looked stranded on the side of the road. Eileen's go-to move was claiming her car was broken down. Classic setup. And the truth is, we will never really know why each of them stopped. Maybe intimacy, maybe sympathy, maybe just bad timing. What we do know is, she didn't kill every man she met. She claimed she probably came into contact with around 400 men that year. Only 7 end up dead. So, why those 7? That is where the line between truth and trauma starts to blur. They are all white, middle-aged men, 40 to 65, the same age range as the grandfather who raised her, the one who abused her and let his friends use her. Maybe that is a coincidence. Or maybe in some buried corner of her mind, every man who picks her up looks a little bit like him. Even Eileen can't keep her story straight about why she killed them. Sometimes she says they attacked her, or tried to, and she fought back. Other times, she says she robbed them and killed to cover her tracks. She would wipe her fingerprints, take their cash, and drive off in their cars like nothing happened. And that is how it starts. 1 murder turns into 2, then 3, then 7. Eileen doesn't have a plan, she has a pattern. Same highways, same setup, same end. Victim number 2, David Spears, 47, construction worker, picks up Eileen in May 1990. By June, he is found dumped in the woods, badly decomposed, shot 6 times. He is nude except for a hat. A used contraceptive lies nearby. His truck turns up abandoned with a flat tire. Gone are his toolbox, clothes, license tag, keys, and a ceramic panther from the dashboard. A few weeks later comes Charles Kakadin, 40 years old, Part-time rodeo worker, full-time bad luck. Last seen May 31st, driving to Tampa in his Cadillac. They find him 6 days later, an hour north, covered with an electric blanket and uprooted grass. 8 gunshot wounds. His Cadillac turns up that same day, stripped. Eileen pawns his gun for cash. Then there is Peter Seams, 65, retired merchant seaman, heading for New Jersey. He picks up Eileen somewhere in Florida that June and disappears. His body is never found, but witnesses see 2 women, Eileen and Ty, in his car before it crashes and gets abandoned. Police lift fingerprints from the wreck, circulate a sketch, and suddenly the hunt has a face. By the time the bodies start stacking up, Florida law enforcement have already realized the killer is a woman. And the moment that headline drops, female serial killer on the loose, Hollywood practically trips over itself to dial in. Movie deals, book offers, talk shows. Everyone wants a piece of the story before the ink on the case file is even dry. By July, Troy Baruz, 50 years old, sausage salesman from Ocala, vanishes mid-delivery run. His truck is found first. He is gone. Receipts missing. 5 days later, his body turns up 8 miles away. 2 bullets, chest and back. Same caliber, same story. Then comes Charles Humpher, 56, retired Air Force major, former police chief, child abuse investigator. Reported missing September 11th, 1990. The next day, 2 boys find his body in the woods. Pockets turned inside out, wallet and car gone. He has been shot 7 times. The pattern suggests he twisted or turned as the bullets hit. Even the cops start whispering that maybe this isn't about money anymore. Maybe she is hunting ghosts from her past. And finally, Walter Antonio, 62, security guard, reserve police officer, found November 1990, nearly nude, 4 bullets to the back and head, dumped off a remote logging road. Eileen tries pawning his stuff, and that is her undoing. Fingerprints on the pawn slips tie her to everything. Walter Antonio is her last known victim. By then, the trail is not just hot, it is on fire. And Eileen Wuornos, she is about to find out the world is ready to make her infamous. And now her life is about to come crashing down. Not just because of the big police sting that finally catches her, but because of the one person she thinks will never turn on her, Tyria Moore. Ty and Eileen met back in 1986 in a Daytona Beach bar. Ty was quiet, steady, the opposite of Eileen in every way. Eileen was volatile, magnetic, and clung to Ty like she was the only good thing she had ever had. They lived out of motels, hustling to survive. And when the murders began, Ty was right there. Whether she knew exactly what was happening or not, that is still up for debate. But by January 1991, when they finally caught Eileen, Ty knew which side of the table she wanted to sit on. She made a deal, immunity in exchange for cooperation, and the cops moved fast. They tucked her away in a seedy motel, straight out of a bad crime movie. Think buzzing neon, thin walls, and the smell of cigarettes that never quite leaves the carpet. From there, they turned her into their inside line. They wired her phone, stationed officers next to her, and told her to reel Eileen in, and she did. On those recorded calls, Ty played scared. She told Eileen she was worried she would get charged, too. And Eileen, desperate to protect her, clueless to the setup, fell for it. She said she loved her. She promised to take the fall. Then she said the words the cops had been waiting for. I did it. I'll confess to everything. Just keep Ty out of it. And that was it. The woman she called her fatal love had just handed the police the confession they couldn't get any other way. Eileen didn't just sign her own death warrant with her rambling confession. She handed it over with an I love you. After that, the rest happens fast. She is charged with multiple counts of murder, and almost overnight, the headlines hit a fever pitch. The first female serial killer, the movie rights goldmine, the Florida freak show. Everyone wants a piece of her, especially the people who are supposed to be protecting her. Because this isn't just a trial anymore, it is a spectacle. And Eileen Wuornos, a broken woman who has lived her whole life in survival mode, has officially become America's favorite monster. By the time she goes to trial, it is not about justice anymore. It is about ratings. Her story has already been packaged and pre-sold to Hollywood before the jury even takes their seats, and I mean that literally. 3 cops involved in her arrest were already signing movie and book deals before she was convicted. They were cashing in on the first female serial killer spectacle like it was a franchise opportunity. They were later fired, sure, but the stain stuck. Eileen wasn't a defendant anymore. She was a headline, a commodity. And it is not just the cops. Even Ty reportedly signs her own deals for books and films about the case after the trial. And then comes the cherry on top. A Florida couple, total strangers to her, legally adopted 35-year-old Eileen while she sat in prison. They said it was an act of faith, that they wanted to save her soul, which is touching if you ignore the fact that they too ended up getting paid to do media interviews about their daughter, the serial killer. But the real twist comes before the trial even starts. The first judge, a woman, looks at how that confession was obtained. The motel sting, the emotional manipulation, the I love you trap, and says nope. She objects to it, questions the ethics, and basically calls the cops out for emotionally catfishing a confession out of Eileen. So, what does the system do? They swap her out. Enter the replacement, a retired judge brought back specifically to oversee Eileen's trial. And let's just say he is much more prosecution-friendly. Under his watch, the doors blow wide open. Eileen is being tried for the murder of Richard Mallory, and only Richard Mallory. But the prosecution is allowed to bring in all 6 other murders as pattern evidence. That is like walking into court for one crime and finding out the prosecution gets to play a greatest hits album of everything you have ever done wrong with commentary. So, the jury doesn't see a traumatized woman with a lifetime of abuse behind her and a victim of a sexual assault conviction. They see a serial killer. Full stop. The tabloids have already named her the hooker from hell. The TV cameras are eating it up. By the time she takes the stand, the story has already been written, and the ending has already been sold. Within 2 hours, the jury comes back with a verdict. Death. Eileen Wuornos is guilty, no question, but fair trial. Forget it. Between the cops selling scripts, and the witnesses cutting deals, and the media turning her into a brand, justice didn't stand a chance. Once the gavel comes down, the show doesn't stop. It just changes venues. Eileen Wuornos is now death row property. And even from a 6x9 cell, she can't escape the spotlight. She spends more than 10 years waiting to die. Her mental health circling the drain. She rants about cops poisoning her food, about being tortured, watched, and toyed with. She says the guards are spitting in her meals, electrocuting her through the air vents, and blasting her cell with sonic pressure. It is hard to tell what is real anymore. Trauma, paranoia, or just the sound of the mind unraveling in isolation. Over the years, Eileen's lawyers file appeals, but she doesn't want them. She says, I killed those men. They tried to hurt me, and I'd do it again. She tells the court she is done with this world, that she wants to die. By 2002, the state grants her wish. On October 9th, Eileen Carol Wuornos is executed by lethal injection. Her last meal is just a cup of coffee. Her final words, I'd just like to say I'm sailing with the Rock, and I'll be back, like Independence Day with Jesus, June 6th. Like the movie Big Mother Shippendale, I'll be back. I'll be back. Eileen Wuornos wasn't innocent. She was angry, dangerous, and deadly. But she was also the product of every system that failed her. Family, social services, law enforcement, the courts. And if she were tried today in a world that understands trauma, coercion, and mental illness a little better, would the outcome be the same? That is not forgiveness, that is perspective. And in Eileen's case, it might be the only kind of justice she never got. But you are probably wondering where everyone landed after the cameras stopped rolling. Eileen Wuornos was cremated. Her childhood friend, Don Botkins, spent hours with her at the prison the night before, saying goodbye. Afterward, she took Eileen's ashes home to Michigan and scattered them under a tree. Tyria Moore vanished after the trial. No interviews, no statements, just silence. She reportedly got married in 2016, but she stayed off the radar ever since. Eileen's grandparents and her brother were gone long before she became infamous. And the baby she gave up as a teenager, a closed adoption. No name, no trace, no ending to that part of her story. And remember that Florida couple who adopted her. They tried to save her soul, but somewhere along the way, the relationship fizzled out. Some sources say Eileen cut them off, believing they were exploiting her like everyone else. They were only about 11 years older than she was at the time, so they are still around, still living in Florida. It is not clear exactly what happened between them, but when Eileen was executed, they weren't there, and it makes you wonder if her trial happened today, with what we now understand about trauma and abuse. Would her story have ended any differently? Should it have? This case is complicated. Eileen Wuornos isn't easy to pin down. Victim, villain, vigilante, maybe a little of all three. We are witnessing here the complete collapse of the ancient oikos the household, and the subsequent corruption of the state that tries and fails to replace it. Eileen Wuornos is not merely a criminal. She is the feral product of a civilization that has ceased to protect its most vulnerable, while simultaneously monetizing their destruction. In the classical world, whether in the polis of Athens or the Republic of Rome, the family was the primary unit of order. When the family disintegrated, as it did in Wuornos's case through incest, abandonment, and alcoholism, the individual was left exposed to the raw elements, much like the unwanted infants of Sparta left on the apotheke. But unlike the Spartans, who exposed children to strengthen the state, our modern society exposes them to a chaotic wilderness of predatory abuse, and then acts surprised when they return as monsters. Wuornos is a barbarian created within the gates. Her rampage on the Florida highways mirrors the banditry that plagued the Roman roads during the crisis of the 3rd century, where lawlessness became the only law because the central authority had rotted from within. But the true sickness of the West is revealed not in her crimes, but in the state's response. The police officers, sworn to uphold the law, immediately sought to sell movie rights, behaving less like guardians of the peace, and more like the Praetorian Guard, auctioning off the empire to the highest bidder. The judicial system, rather than acting as a solemn arbiter of divine justice, descended into a theatrical farce reminiscent of the Roman gladiatorial games or worse. The show trials of the Soviet Union, the swapping of judges to ensure a lethal verdict, the use of pattern evidence to bypass due process, and the media frenzy all point to a system that no longer seeks truth, but demands a spectacle. The mob wanted blood, and the state provided it, not to restore order, but to feed the ratings machine. This is the hallmark of a declining empire. When justice becomes a commodity and the suffering of the broken is packaged as entertainment for the masses, we see a direct parallel to the late Roman Republic, where the courts became tools of political factionalism and personal enrichment rather than instruments of use, or right. The adoption of Wuornos by strangers seeking publicity further underscores this spiritual void. It was an act of performative piety, empty of the true duty that defines genuine kinship. In the end, Wuornos was executed not just because she killed, but because she was the inconvenient refuse of a broken culture that preferred to kill the symptom rather than cure the disease. The lesson of the Eileen Wuornos case is a terrifying indictment of our current trajectory. We have built a society that is exceedingly efficient at punishing the monsters it creates, yet utterly incompetent at preventing their creation. When the foundational structures of the family and the community dissolve, the state steps in not as a father, but as a jailer and an executioner. The short-term consequence of this dynamic is the erosion of public safety, as the highways and byways of the nation become hunting grounds for those who have been stripped of their humanity by early trauma. But the long-term consequence is far more dangerous: the total loss of moral authority by the state itself. When law enforcement and the judiciary are exposed as profiteers and entertainers, the citizen no longer obeys the law out of respect, but out of fear. This is the transition from a republic of laws to a tyranny of force. If we continue to allow the commercialization of justice where cops sign movie deals before the handcuffs are even on, we destroy the sacred impartiality that separates civilization from barbarism. We are creating a permanent underclass of the traumatized and violent, and a permanent overclass of the cynical and corrupt. Unless we restore the sanctity of the home and purge the legal system of its mercenary impulses, we will see more Eileens, more spectacles, and less justice, until the very concept of order is nothing more than a memory.